An idea born out of Monday morning chats at the coffee machine. In this series, we chat to our guests about their going out experiences and how it shaped them.
Join us, Pippa
and Georgia,
team members at Skiddle who love going out and miss chatting about it.
This is episode 6 of the Going Out podcast, and today we're joined by the brilliant Nova twins.
And we chatted about growing up in South East London, playing various gigs in Camden,
and their open letter to the MOBOs, and travelling around France in a Ford Galaxy.
Plus many more achievements that they had in 2020. We hope you enjoy the podcast.
Thank you for joining us on today's podcast. This is episode 6 with the amazing Nova twins, who are an English rock duo formed in London, England, and it consists of Amy Love and Georgia South. Thank you for joining us.
Hello.
Thanks.
We're really, really excited to chat to you, and you're the first podcast of the new year.
Yeah.
The first recording we're doing.
So happy New Year.
Yeah, happy New Year. So basically, we're just wanting to chat with loads of different artists about what their going out experiences are. At Skiddle, we want to get music fans closer to artists, so obviously we're all going through a lot at the moment with the current pandemic, so we think that people would be really, really interested to hear what you've got going on. And yeah, we've been following you, and we're really excited to chat to you. So yeah, we'd love to hear about when you started going out, where you grew up.
Let's start at the beginning.
Yeah.
Cool. So when you say going out, like in what sense? Like out the front door or party?
Definitely. Going to your first music events, going to clubs, going to gigs. Like, where were you going? Where were your first nights out?
I think, to be honest, my first night out in terms of going to like a pub or something, I was probably like, I don't know, 13 or 14, and my aunts used to sneak me and my friend into this little local pub, and then we would just drink like WKDs.
That was the best.
It was
one.
a bit, for some reason, I remember that being like quite a poignant moment of being like, this is what it's like getting out.
Is this what it's like to be an adult? This is cool. My drink of choice was like Smirnoff Ice.
Yeah.
That was my favourite.
Yeah, that was like Smirnoff Ice and like WKD and all them like alcohol pops and whatever.
Yeah. Basically lemonade.
Yeah. Sugar.
When were you going to gigs and stuff?
My first ones were probably, I was in a band like from when I was really young, so I was probably like 13 as well, and we used to play venues where we had to sneak in because people thought we was older. So then I guess that was kind of like my nightlife experience. Because we used to literally, remember once you was there as well, I had to hide under the bar because the security was looking for me because they knew that I was underage.
Yeah.
And I was like, this band can't play in here, it's like an 18s club. And I was like hiding in the toilets, trying to hide under the bar to try and like stay in there. And so yeah, I reckon that was like my first experience of like bars and pubs.
Yeah. And when did you start going to like gigs and seeing artists, and like what kind of artists were you going to see?
This is really racking up gigs. Ooh, I don't know. I guess again where we were in bands, I guess our first experience were probably playing them.
Yeah.
You know, whether there were little open mic nights or, you know, just things like that. That's where we kind of started. And then I guess from that, when we started playing festivals, we got to see other bands. But we've bought tickets for like big concerts or whatever. Like we've seen gigs together, whether it's been like we saw Jack White not that long ago, Prodigy. I remember we've seen Beyonce. You saw Beyonce back in the day as well. I saw Pink. That was quite interesting.
Oh wow.
Katy Perry.
Yeah, at the O2. Her shows are actually so sick.
Yeah, I actually caught a bit of Katy Perry at Glasgow a couple of years ago and was like, oh my God, she's such like a show woman, isn't she? Like she can proper dominate the stage.
And she did this like magic trick where she like changed outfit and like ripped off the dress. And I remember I was younger watching it. I was like, how's she doing this? It's magic.
That's so funny. So you two have known each other, it seems, for quite a while. It would be good if you could kind of give us a brief kind of explanation about your kind of career, like how it's gone into Nova Twins.
We've just been like family friends for years and years and years. And then we was always in different bands and projects, but always put the same shows together. So we'd always be on the same like nights out or circuits, because we just was like this unit of these kind of like bands collectively kind of gigging together. And then when those came to an end, we're just like, we hung out all the time anyway.
I was staying at yours and stuff, wasn't I, anyway?
Yeah, you were basically living at mine. So we were just like, well, why don't we just like write a song together one day, because we were just hanging out. And then we did, and it was just really fun. And we just really enjoyed the experience and had a laugh doing it. And then it's just been like that ever since.
Oh, that's amazing.
And what kind of got you into forming together instead of being in your individual bands?
I think it was just a natural progression. I think obviously when our first bands, it's like your first relationship. They don't necessarily work out. You know?
That's a good analogy.
Yeah. And so even though, we gained a lot of experience via our other projects, I think getting together was just something that me and Georgia would always tap into anyway, because when we were gigging, we'd come back home, because I would be staying at Georgia's, basically living there, and we'd be talking about where we want to be or where we want to go and our kind of dreams and stuff, and I think... And then we'd help each other out on each other's tracks anyway. So it wasn't like it was unfamiliar, but it was it's a turning point where we was just like, oh, let's just write some songs. We were kind of bored. And then the first tune we wrote was called Bad Bitches. And it was just this kind of magnetic situation where we was like, hang on a minute, this is really cool. Well, we thought it was cool anyway. I don't think people thought it was for a while. We've been in a band for ages. I think people assume we've just come out, but we've been doing this for like in March 7 years. So so we just wanted to make music we wanted to make, whether it was a bit weird or crazy or whatever. And we just kept growing and growing, and then gigging in Europe, that kind of took off for us for a bit. And then, we just kind of went with the flow, and we just love what we do. So it doesn't really matter. As long as we're doing it, we're happy.
Yeah, exactly. So like when you said that you were going around kind of Europe, at first, were you just kind of gigging in and around London? What kind of bars and clubs were your like first experiences as a band?
I think Camden was quite like a big part for us. We did quite a few venues in Camden, like it was called the Barfly back in the day. I remember we actually used to go there a lot. So it was kind of like, oh, we'd love to play the Barfly. It was like quite called Camden Assembly now. And then we played the Monarch and the Underworld and the Stables.
A lot of
Camden venues. That was a cool scene. What else did we play?
It was our hub, I thought, Camden. I think when we first started, like the very, very initial period, it would have been in Southeast where G's from, because we were based there. So there was like this pub, it's not a pub anymore, but it was Ravensbourne, where they'd have like jams and like open mic nights. So that was our probably first, like as a band together, doing that as an open mic night. And then we'd play like the Amersham Arms, New Crossing, the Fox and Firkin, all these like classic.
We went from Lewisham to New Cross, and then Camden was like...
Yeah, and we progressed to Camden.
Yeah, Camden was like, we've got to make it to Camden.
Yeah, well, it holds it, doesn't it?
Let me take that back, sorry. Because South East London, their venues are incredible, and actually so many great things happen there.
No,
so it wasn't a progression, it was just more...
Camden was the big venues.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're slightly bigger, and it was like out of our doorstep, out of our comfort zone. For us, it was like, oh, we're leaving our house.
Yeah. Camden has a bit of a kind of musical like significance anyway, doesn't it? Because like you have like Amy Winehouse used to like live there, and I can imagine as like it's like a musical kind of pull magnetic place for all kind of like cool gigs and stuff.
And also you don't really know bands in Camden, like when you're gig around your area, you just know everyone, so it's quite comfortable.
Yeah.
When you go out, you're like, oh, this is what the rest of the sea's like.
Yeah. And how's it been touring Europe? And obviously not recently due to like COVID and stuff, but what was that jump like from your London venues to over the seas?
I remember that jump was quite drastic at first, because first we played The Great Escape in Brighton, and then we got picked up by a promoter put us on, Jean-Louis, who put us on Transmusical in France. So then we went from playing all these like bars in London, probably like 100 cap, and then we got put on this festival which was like 4,000 people, and like when we went on, there's this big screen in front of the stage. So we're like, just like, okay, let's play this gig. It's in a warehouse, and we couldn't hear the crowd because I don't know whether this little curtain was so thick. But we thought it was empty, basically. We thought, we've never been here before. Who's going to even turn up? The screen went up when you play, and literally it was 4,000 people. And we looked at each other like, okay, it's on.
That sounds like out of a movie or something. Like,
Yeah.
dun, dun, dun.
It really was, because we didn't expect it. And at the time, that was, well, it was our biggest venue to, well, not to date, but at the time. So we were just so shocked because we walked in the venue and it was empty, and it all took for us to go to backstage about 10 minutes later for it to be full cap.
Wow.
Like they had to shut the doors and everything. It was mental. I remember we were just playing thinking, what's happening right now? What's happening? Because we was just, it was a good memory.
And that never happens with the curtain going up. Like, we've never even had that again.
Yeah, it sounds like something off like the Lizzie McGuire movie or something like that. She's about to perform and the curtain goes up. What's that feel like when obviously the jump from like 100 to 4,000? Like, I don't know, have you had fans following you from those early days to these kinds of gigs, or like what are your fans like?
Yeah, I think in terms of France, that kicked off our whole kind of European career. Yeah, it really did. It changed a lot because we then got an agent from that, and then we were touring France a lot and playing a lot of festivals. And then obviously, you know, we started to branch out a bit more, but all the, you know, the dates got cancelled. But yeah, it was such a significant turning point in our career, because when we first started, we didn't really know what we were doing. We just knew that we enjoyed what we do, and we didn't have management as such, but we had like basically Georgia's parents were like our mentors, and they're musical, so they would always be encouraging us to be like, yeah, you just got to do it, just go for it, you know. And it was great, you know. So we just gig, and we gigged a bit in the UK, and it was very local. And then when we did that gig in France, it was Transmusicale. That was it. Suddenly we got swept off our feet and was playing all the festivals, all the kind of tours and everything. It was just a bit mental, really. And then we came back to the UK. It was only like 2 years ago I felt like we came back. And and then we started, and then obviously here it picked up as well. So it was it started in France, really. A lot of
it was so funny because we did, it was kind of like that snowball effect. We were driving around Europe in our family car. We'd turn up to these huge festival stages and like main stage, and they'll be like, oh, the camping section's at the back, because obviously it looks like a big family car roof rack. And then we'd be like, no, we're playing. So it was just like that funny like journey, and it was amazing times.
Oh, that must be amazing to be like,
that happened at
showing you things.
That happened at Hellfest as well.
When they were literally like, you in the right place. We were playing main stage at Hellfest to like 20,000 people turning up in a Ford Galaxy, and they were like, do you need help? I was like, no, we're playing. And they were literally just like laughing at us. It was so funny because that was the.
And when you park your car, you're like sandwiched between two massive coach trucks. Probably like, I don't know, probably like Metallica was playing that day, and like another massive truck, gonna be like our little car next
to the tour buses.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
How does it feel being on like the same bill or lineup as names like that? Names like Metallica or something like that?
Yeah, it's crazy, you know.
Speechless.
Yeah.
I think where we started doing festivals first as well was definitely like we were just opened up to this whole new world, and even like being backstage, and I'd personally never really been to many festivals before, so it was just like, well, this is what goes on here.
Yeah.
And then to be on that other side of it, to be in like the VIP, like that must be cool.
So weird.
So what was it like traveling around? So how long was you like in your kind of Ford Galaxy traveling around France? Like what was that like?
I think it's only been really like the last like 2 years or something that we've actually have a small but, you know, touring van.
Yeah.
9 people, or I don't know, 10 seater or something. I don't know, something like that. So we kind of just kept to it for a while, and we had a lot of, we have a lot of great memories. It's kind of like DIY, and we kind of get stuck in. And I think when this pandemic happened, you kind of missed them days, because we used to moan about it, but like, we're squashed, or like, everything was just on top of each other, and we were just like, and then you think, they're all fond memories now, and you kind of you appreciate them a lot more when you can't do it. That's for sure. I'd happily lug around my amps again and get sick on tour.
We were saying that, weren't we, a couple of weeks ago, about how, like, now when you're looking back because of all the COVID thing, it's also like the nice memories, but you also miss those, like, the moany moments where, like, things that you actually hated, you miss them.
Yeah, the long queue at the bar, or something like that. What's this kind of break been like for you? I imagine you had, like, loads of tour dates lined up in 2020. Are they going to be, like, rescheduled for 2021, 2022? What's I know, because it's weird now, because it is 2021, so it feels really like almost, it's hard to say it when you're currently in a lockdown.
It's gotten weird, because I feel like before we were like 2021. It's going to be, have rescheduled all our dates, and fingers crossed. But I think, we've just got to play it by ear.
Yeah.
We'll always reschedule, and, we want to do our tours.
Yeah. What kind of places were you going to on your tour?
Well, we did most of France when we got pulled off the tour. So we've got the rest of Europe to do, and the UK to do on our headline tour. So it's like Germany, Prague.
Oh, amazing.
London, Manchester.
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
And then all the festivals that we were supposed to do last year, like Reading and Leeds, Glastonbury, and Puckle Pop, and just and we were supposed to go to America as well. So
so you've got a lot of stuff lined up, like just like ready for the go ahead.
And this year you released an album. Who Are the Girls? Was that prior to COVID-19 that was released, or was that during the pandemic?
It was just before. We were very lucky, actually, just before, because we were obviously releasing singles prior to that anyway, the year before. So there was a lead up. We managed to get out and gig a lot of the songs anyway on the previous year. And then when we released it, we managed to tour it a bit. So we managed, I think we released it at like a perfect time, really, because it was quite difficult for bands to release their albums whilst that was all happening, because no one knew what was happening. And I think a lot of people ended up suffering because of it. And I think later on in the year, people got more used to lockdown life, and we found ways to communicate, and streaming got better, and platform services got better. But I think in that initial period, it was really difficult. Just people didn't really know what the fuck was going on. So
I think also they were like waiting for, when we got first told all our stuff was cancelled, it's kind of like, well, this bit's cancelled, then the festivals will go ahead. And then people were just waiting and kind of like in limbo, because they're like, or do we wait, or do we just like hang out, or what we're doing?
It's amazing that a lot of artists this year have still managed to be so creative during this time, and people have still released music, haven't they, without knowing really when they could tour after they release any music. What's like probably been your favourite parts of this year, so it's not all like doom and gloom? What is something that you've really appreciated about lockdown, and have you managed to be creative? Like you've worked with Bring Me the Horizon this year, so that must have been like something really exciting for you guys. I mean, that's been, to be honest, considering how messed up everything is, we've had a good year. We've connected with our audience in a way we would have never have done if lockdown hadn't happened. Like, we had so much time on our hands that usually we're on the go, so all you usually get to do is document what you're doing, but we got to stop and think about what it is that we want to say and to our audience, and get to know them as well. We've done loads of challenges where they done like t-shirt challenge, design and makeup challenge, like guitar bass riff challenge, or whatever instrument challenge, and suddenly we realized,
that's our audience. They're all like creatives, they're artists, they're fashion designers, they're like musicians, a lot of them. And it was really, and like obviously music listeners as well. So it was interesting to get to know them in that kind of way.
Yeah.
For sure. We've had crazy, like, we have gotten really lucky this year with the Bring Me collab. Obviously amazing. And surreal when that came in. Then we won a heavy music award, which were just like, what the hell? Crazy considering, the whole world stopped, but it seemed like luckily we have still managed to push forward through it all.
Yeah.
And BLM was a massive part of obviously last year, and a massive part for us to just kind of push and fight further for the cause, So I think there's just been loads of interesting new developments, I think mentally, personally, musically, that we've just had the time to look into and do, which is, I think we've appreciated the time, if anything, and just spun it as a positive.
Yeah. We have read the open letter that you did for the MOBOs. Obviously, BLM was a big part of the year. What kind of pushed you to write the open letter? And obviously it's really, really inspiring, and I've read a lot about it in terms of like the interview that you've done with The Independent as well. What kind of made you write the open letter, and what are you trying to achieve? I
think we're just trying to open up the space. I think for our own personal experiences and other POC artists that we spoke to, and statistics show that, unfortunately, we don't get a platform in alternative music. We have been lost in rock music and blues, even though it originated from Black people in the first place. And I think it's just suddenly become like the norm to be like, well, rock is white male. And Black people are R&B and hip hop, and if you're alternative, if you're brown, or if you're this or if you're that, then you might have it. It's just everything's very kind of pigeonholed and segregated. Yeah. So I think we just wanted to shine light on the origin of rock, and we thought that MOBOs would be the perfect home to show that. So just to wake up the UK a little bit, because in America, they're a bit more acceptable, they're a bit more open to alternative music. People assume we're American.
Yeah. And I watched that video of Ollie Sykes, and he was saying how he thought you were American, and he noticed that you were following them, and he thought you were American as well. So
people assume that because there's more space for, I guess they've got a bigger scene, it's a bigger country obviously, and there's more space for alternative POC creatives, but in the UK it's very slim. It's like grime is our leading genre, which is amazing, but we definitely feel that it's time for a change. So we're just going to try and push that and open up the space in rock, in Black culture, in general anyway, as much as we can.
I suppose that's really valuable to for your followers as well, in terms of you've noticed that a lot of them are artists and musicians. So have you had like feedback from that in terms of from your fans?
Well, that's it as well, because like through the pandemic as well, we created this Voices for the Unheard playlist when the BLM movement happened, where we discovered so many POC alternative artists. We're thinking like, we need to shine light on these people, because everybody was discovering bands like us, other people. So we're thinking, let's just make a playlist so we can discover more and share it. And then it really took off. And then from that, we did our Instagram show where we got to meet them and everything. And I think we feel like they always deserve more of a voice and everything. So the MOBOs having a rock alternative category could only help hoist up this whole community as well. So it just feels like, they need help, because nobody's thinking about the alternative bands and artists. It's always just very categorized. So whatever we can do to support them, we'll do it.
Yeah, and it's other genres as well, isn't it? Like Jaguar posted about electronic genres as well. Have you had any feedback from the MOBOs with regards to your open letter?
No. Obviously, they kind of acknowledged us with a tweet back saying that they see us and they hear us or whatever, and they put our name in the awards and they graffitied it on the wall. So we're assuming that's a kind of little head nod to maybe making this happen this year, but we're going to have to try and find someone to talk to.
Yeah.
So, watch this space.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. When will the kind of list be out for this year?
It was in December.
It came out quite late last year, so
Yeah.
I'm guessing December, November.
Yeah, we've got time. We've got time. We've got time.
And what are the kind of artists that you're currently listening to then? What are the artists that you've discovered in 2020?
Discovered Lost Sick Puppy, Death Tour,
Zariah, Unity TX.
Pleasure Venom. We always get put on the spotlight.
Everybody on the Voices for the Unheard playlist on Spotify. A lot of them are new bands, and you probably wouldn't have heard of them. There was only like a couple of people that were big, like Fever and Rico Nasty and stuff. But majority of them are like underground, new, happening.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
Hopefully we can all go see artists in this year.
I know.
I
It's
know.
like
I
holding
hate
breath.
that we've come into 21 and we're all just like, hopefully.
Yeah.
And we was all so set on being like, yeah, 2021.
It was just going to disappear on the 1st of Jan, and it's still
we're in 2020
yeah, it was so easy to be like, oh, next year it'll be fine, because now it's 2021. You're kind of like just holding our breath through this next lockdown.
I thought we were going backwards again. Like we're just how it was.
Are you two in London currently in this next lockdown?
In Hastings.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And how are you kind of being creative at the moment? Are you managing to... Are you going to be able to record new music, or?
We're writing loads of new music. Not sure with obviously the rules and pandemic if we can record yet, but we're definitely just writing at home.
Yeah. Are you finding it an easy time to be creative? Because I know that in from my experience in lockdown, my kind of normal routine has just gone out of the window. So I'm finding it difficult to do tasks that like I used to love doing in normal life. And I can't imagine being a creative person if that stifles it or if that encourages you to be more creative.
I think it's just literally day by day. Some days you wake up and you're like, right, let's get going. I'm going to do this, write a song. Nowadays you're just like, oh God, I'm tired of it.
Yeah. It's definitely like a wave, isn't it? And you're just kind of waking up to see what like you feel like that day.
Every day is different. Sometimes you need to go for a walk because you realise you've been indoors for like 5 days and you're like,
that's the worst. I've done that a few times and I'm like, when was the last time I stepped out of my house? And you're like, that's scary.
Yeah, no, but you know that everyone else is the same anyway, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
we
true.
did that.
So you've had some amazing achievements this year. You've got in the 50 greatest albums of 2020 by Kerrang, NME's 20 best debut albums of 2020, the cover photo for the Rock List on Spotify in December, which must have been a really nice way to round off the year. Is there anything that's been kind of your favourite thing that's happened over the year? Or something that you've been like a bit of a pinch myself moment, despite the pandemic?
I think maybe the Heavy Music Award. I feel like that was, I think we just, I don't know, it was just a crazy moment. And I think where we were in the middle of the pandemic, everything getting cancelled, it was a nice, like, it's a nice moment.
Yeah.
It was nice. And I feel like everybody, because we are like an alternative POC band, it felt like we were really waving the flag for this genre and scene. So it was a good moment. And the Bring collab, when that came in, we were like, whoa.
That was crazy. Yeah.
Was that a virtual award ceremony?
Yeah.
Was that weird?
We got dressed up anyway. We're just
I love that.
Yeah.
We watched it on the TV.
Oh, that's great.
You gotta make the most of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm just indoors and I just get dressed up for the hell of it because I've got nowhere else and I just take it all off again.
Yeah. Feels good, doesn't it?
It's nice because you put on, a bit of makeup and get ready.
I actually put mascara on today and then like couldn't do it. I was like, when was the last time I put mascara on? And I was like, got it all over my eye and I was like, oh my God, I'm out of practice of like getting ready.
Yeah, you forget how to do your own makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does happen.
Yeah.
And looking at like your Instagram, you're like, obviously it seems like fashion is like a huge kind of outlet for you. How do you express yourself? Is that a form of expression for you? And what's your like, do you get inspired by anyone or you just like roll with it?
I think we just roll with it. I think it starts with the music and then we kind of what our music sounds like, if that makes sense to us. And I think we just enjoy it. It's fun. It's, you know, I think, again, it kind of goes with our whole kind of aesthetic when we're just like, we're not trying to conform. We're not trying to do we're just trying to just do us. Do you know what I mean? So whatever that is, whether it's a bit crazy one day or a bit more chill the next, it's fine. It's acceptable. Yeah, each to their own.
Yeah, definitely. So we are asking everyone a question as part of the podcast, which might put you on the spot a bit again. So if you could go out with anyone, anywhere, where would you go and who would you go with? And this is not in a pandemic world, that's just say normal world. And they could be dead or alive.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Just to make your choice even more
big question.
difficult.
I know that one name just popped into my head. It's really random. You won't find it random, but people probably will. I'd probably go out with Rihanna.
Oh, nice. How come?
Just because I'm wearing Fenty right now.
Nice.
She's always just super badass. She always going to great places, looking great.
Yeah.
So.
The bit I always remember is when she's got that little hip flask at is it the Grammys where she's like she's got this like Diamante like hip flask and she's just like sipping it up. I'm in love.
You know, the party would be so lit.
Yeah. Yeah. Where would you go with Rihanna if you could pick anywhere?
Maybe fly somewhere like New York.
Yes.
Nice, cool, like, I don't know, place so we haven't been.
Yeah. Probably anywhere with Rihanna would just be cool.
Really cool and fun.
Yeah.
What would yours be, Amy?
Well, I'm definitely going to join the Rihanna train as well, just because we have this thing for Rihanna, like we even have dreams about her sometimes. It's really weird. It's just like a weird obsession. But that's just something that's separate. If I could pick anyone, that's such a big question, dead or alive. Should I go for someone who's passed on?
Yeah, go on.
Just so we've got both worlds. Sorry, I'm trying to think.
I'm just going to let my cat out of this door.
Okay.
Maybe I'll say a little sweet one. I'm gonna say Andy Gill. He's just recently passed, and we were working with him on his some of his like material and stuff. So it'd be nice to get to the end of that and speak to him and see him. Just, you know, because that was a nice little moment, and he's a legend. So I'll say him.
Oh, that's nice.
Lovely.
And
should I ask about New Year's resolutions? It's our first, our first New Year podcast.
So we're going to be annoying and ask a question that everyone asks.
Do you have any? Not that we need them this year, but just interested if you do have any.
Some people prefer goals. So any resolutions, goals?
There's quite a lot.
Oh, really? Nice.
For me, there's a lot.
Try and get the MOBOs to put on the category, alternative category, not to procrastinate as much.
Procrastinate a lot.
Procrastinating is the worst.
Yes.
So annoying. You get to the end of the day and you're just like, for God's sake.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, TikTok's been that for me. It just swallows me up and then it's been hours.
Yeah, same. Any more? Amy, have you got any?
Just like getting fit, because you know all the musicians, all of us are out of the swing of things. So when we hit that stage, we need to hit it running, not literally just like not being able to breathe. So that, because I've been quite lax, I need to get back into that again. Generally, you know, just self working on yourself. You know, you know, because I feel like in the music industry, I think it's quite a harsh place.
Yes.
And I think when artists and people say, you know, like not a tortured artist, but when you put your shit out there, people are really quick to judge, and you have to get in the right mindset, I think, just in general, just to take it on, because it is constant. It's only now that we've stopped and you think, fuck, we never really stopped to even have some fresh air or anything. We just kept going and running at it and running at it and running at it. And I think sometimes just get some perspective on what's important and why you love what you do, and just have a really good balance, I think. So I think it's just balance. So all of that jargon is called balance. Yes. Having good balance and just cooking more and just reading a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scrolling.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I want to take some of them for my own as well.
Yeah, same. Balance, definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we had a really good discussion there. I think we can give our Skiddle followers a bit more insight into your kind of personal lives, and also, you know, the amazing things that you've done this year. And we really hope to see you at the MOBOs next year.
Yeah.
I think I'll be manifesting that. So yeah, I've really enjoyed the discussion.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Going Out podcast with Skiddle. Don't forget to like, rate and subscribe wherever you hear this podcast.
Thank you.